Hello, good day, even it is day, right? You join me in a 2019 Citroen Grand C4 Spacetourer. Grand C4 Spacetourer, which I'm now going to refer to as a C4 Spacetourer, a little bit less with the Grand, is effectively a big car which isn't that big on the outside. It gives you big space on the inside, big family capabilities, whilst actually being quite nimble and capable to be used around town. Now this one is powered by the 1.5 litre diesel, the same as I had on the C5 Aircross last week, which is 129 horsepower and 300 newton meters of torque. Unlike the vehicle last week though, this one, even though it's bigger, is faster. This is a vehicle which is meant for family life, but I actually think it could be suited to many other things, including taxi driving, long distance driving because of frugality. Kind of does everything and doesn't drive like a vehicle of this size at all. So welcome to the review of the 2019 Grand C4 Spacetourer. Flare, I'll add that in, flare.
Around town fuel economy, interesting for a car this size, but on paper it should be very good. I'll tell you those at the other end. This is generally around town, although there are some B roads. It's not going to be any motorway. There's going to be the odd bit of 60, but there's going to be a lot of town driving. So let's see what we get with what's probably going to be quite heavy traffic. Let's go. So on paper what I should have got was about 48 miles per gallon. What I achieved was 54.2, which is an alarmingly good feat for a vehicle of this size with an engine of that size, a 1.5 litre diesel. That's 129 horsepower, 300 newton meters of torque. It shouldn't be able to do it, but it does. When you're driving around town, the lock is great, the visibility is amazing, and really it's quite comfortable and easy to drive around town. As big as it is, it's not actually that big of a car.
Now, I said in last week's video that Citroen go through hit or miss design periods, and they're currently in their hit, and that's not a lie. The front, aesthetically, this C4 Spacetourer looks great. It really does have a specifically Citroen look. You look at it and you go, that's definitely a Citroen. But when you come to the back, I feel as if the design was a little bit lazy, as if the designers just went, that works, that's good enough. It's not ugly, it's not a failure, but I just feel like they could have been more adventurous. Look at what PSA are bringing out on things like a DS7, front and back, side to side. That thing looks amazing. Now, when you do get to the side of this, it isn't a boring design, but equally doesn't have many flowing lines. It doesn't have many bulges. It's quite flat, but safe design. And that's to do with the economy. It means that while it doesn't have any bulging bits out, the economy return is pretty decent for a vehicle of this size, even though it's not really that big. This test car is fitted with 18s instead of the 19s, which were on the C5 Aircross last week. And funnily enough, these actually give you a much nicer, smoother ride. Funny that. There's a bit more tread, a bit more meat on the tyres. So as a result, on longer journeys and around town, if you are hitting potholes, A, you're not worrying about curbing your wheels and damaging them, and B, it just generally is a bit more soft. The alloy design is really nice. And now this one outside is finished in, I believe they call it deep sand. Now, ironic name considering that this is an all-wheel drive and could not possibly go through deep sand, but I appreciate the sentiment that it does kind of look like deep sand. So I guess that's where they're coming from. Aside from that, on the outside, this does look like a PSA Group vehicle. It's not a negative, that's not a criticism. They're not making ugly vehicles by any stretch of the imagination. Just it's a safe Citroen design. It looks good and it does exactly what you expect a vehicle of this type to do from an aesthetical point of view.
It tends to go without saying that a vehicle like this will have uncomprehendable space in the back of it, but with the amount of safety features and safety in general that this has, the sides kind of come in to protect the passengers, so it's not as wide as it is big. So for that reason, slightly skeptical that all my equipment's going to fit in, but here's a demonstration of the amount of equipment you can fit in the back of this rather large vehicle.
inside the C4 Grand Tourer is something of a, you could almost call it a dark horse. You don't expect it to be as refined and quiet and luxurious as it is. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not luxury. It's not leather, like quilted leather and all those finer things in life. But what it is comfortable, spacious, decent build quality, nice textures. So for instance, on the dashboard, you've got this kind of plastic which looks like it could be almost a carpet, going with that kind of chic Paris design. It's nice, it fits in, and it works very, very well with the entire overall interior, because it kind of stretches throughout the entire interior. The sound system is good, but does have a limitation. It's not like powerful, but it's crisp enough at lower volumes. If you do pump it up, then you will expect to lose a little bit here and there, and it will get massively compressed, and just the normal things that you get, because they don't want you blowing speakers up. Up front, your driver amenities are quite good. You do have a huge, and I do literally mean huge, like cockpit display going on here, which is totally adaptive, and you can have it set up exactly as you want. It is massive. Then you come down to what almost feels like a slightly outdated infotainment system. It's not outdated, it's just in comparison to this lovely central cockpit display up here, you've got a quite small, probably about an 8-inch TFT display down here, using the same infotainment system as you get in the rest of the PSA group. The buttons are still, as I commented on the C5 aircraft, slightly cumbersome, not impossible to use. Your rear seats are fully adjustable, and you get bundles and bundles and bundles of room, and then there's more seats behind them. If you have them down, there's more space than you could possibly want in the boot. However, consideration, if you have hugely wide things, you do need to consider the fact that these hugely wide things probably may not fit in because of all the safety tech and all the extra reinforcement they give you these days. There's a lot of ingress into the cabin area to protect you. So effectively then, on a run, this is quiet and it's comfortable. It's really easy to be in for extended, and I mean really extended, periods of time, and it doesn't feel like a vehicle which in this case costs just under £34,000 on the road. For a vehicle of this size, that's pretty good going.
Now it's time to see, even though you're slightly on the skew, what the combined run is going to be, because while we know the motorway is going to be relatively good with this because that engine is super frugal, what's the combined run? So I've got a mega gig day, 2 gigs, one which is going to involve motorway and town, and the other is town, B roads, and then maybe a little bit of motorway, and basically seeing what the combined figure is going to be. I have high expectations, but it all depends on traffic. The car is on the parking system here at the port, and behind me you can see a huge ship. I'm not staying on it, but I am going on to play some music. Thus far, just under 60 miles per gallon, which, considering the type of driving it was, gives you an idea of just what it can achieve. Imagine sitting at like 63 miles per hour. It would be insane. Super comfortable and spacious and easy to drive. So I'll see you as I'm going on to the next gig in a few hours. 1 gig down, 1 to go. I'm feeling absolutely shattered after that. So here's to a comfortable, relaxing drive. I can't sleep on, obviously, but I can relax in a little bit. Again, see you on the other side. Some hours later, after the gig, I can actually tell you guys how it did. Really comfortable, easy to drive, even down really narrow streets and paths and everything, really easy to navigate with. Really good on long journeys and short journeys, and from a driving perspective, easy on all fronts. Economy-wise, 57.9, which as a combined run is insanely good, and is basically what they're saying you can turn around. For a 1.5 litre diesel to have the power to move you and still get that, you can't complain.
Now, performance-wise, 129 brake horsepower, 300 newton meters of torque, tops out about 120 miles an hour, gets there in 10 seconds, which is funny because it's the same engine as they use on the C5 Aircross, but the C5 Aircross is slower. It's quite responsive. In fact, it's very responsive. The gearbox is quite good, but at low speeds, again, kind of jolts you out of gear. The steering feedback is nice. The pedal feedback is decent, considering it's not a sports car and it will never be driven as such. That's quite nice. Now, to get all those kind of performance qualities for a vehicle of this size, even though it's not that big, it's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. It's actually quite good. While there is rolling corners, totally normal. It's really fast to respond, and you can have a bit of fun. You just need to be aware that you are driving a people carrier, quite literally. On a run, they say basically around 46 low, 56 medium and 66 high, and they're all pretty achievable if I'm going to be totally honest with you, because generally on combined runs I was getting 55, which is bang on what they were saying that you would get, and on the motorway I actually saw 70 miles per gallon, so I was pretty surprised by that. So from a performance point of view, it's quick enough, it pulls off as it needs to, and does exactly what you expect a vehicle of this to do, this size to do, and beyond that. And then on a run, it was quiet, capable, frugal, everything that you could possibly ask a family car to be. So then, to summarise, this specific vehicle is just under £34,000, but it comes with a lot of things, including convenience packs and self-park. Not that you will probably ever use self-park because the visibility is so good. And while £34,000 is a lot of money, for a people carrier with this amount of capability, practicality, general day-to-day usability, it's really, really not. Everyone gets a lot of space, front, middle or back. If you have no one in the back, you have more than enough space for anything else that you could possibly ask it to do. The design is safe but not ugly. The drive is alright, not inspiring but not totally disconnected. It's exactly what you expect of a vehicle of this size to be, and more, with more capable technology than you could ever ask it to need currently with new cars on sale. It's brilliant. I was expecting to drive this and to be bored, but I really wasn't. In fact, my first emotion driving this was surprised at how good it was and how small and nimble it actually felt. So that pretty much says it all. And to finish off, this is the final time I'll say it, the 2019 Citroen Grand C4 Spacetourer. This one's a flare. It's a bit of a mouthful. Citroen like their mouthful titles.